Hello. Hello, everybody. Got a bonus stream today. I've been working a lot on my, well, not a lot, but I've been working a bit on my out-of-process automation stuff off-stream here, doing a little bit of work and tidying the output of my different scripts. And I had a couple hours to put toward it again this evening, so I figured I would do a bonus stream here. Hey, Free Frag, how's it going? Hype. Let's hype it up. Yeah, so the last time we left off with out-of-process automation, we were like just automating one user, just for tier 1 cracking. It was very ugly. It was like all one giant static function that did that was just like all command line stuff. You couldn't do any control. It didn't cycle between users. Wasn't configurable. None of that. So I spent some number of hours over the last couple days just kind of like overhauling it in general to get it to the point where it's not just like a big junky thing that you can't interact with or anything like that. So you're doing good. You're still on vacation from work, so that helps. That does help. Good to hear. Good to hear that you got some time off. Everyone deserves some time off. I've got a week off coming up. I think not next week, but the week after. First week of July. So there's probably going to be more streaming, especially if it's hot. It's hot this week here. It's going to be like 45 Celsius. It's going to be blazing hot. Too hot to go outside and do anything. So if we have a summer like that, I'm definitely going to be spending more time streaming, for better or worse. Anyway, so I think it's probably best if I just show what my automation looks like as it is right now. There's still some work to be done on it, and it still only handles tier 1, but it's a lot more configurable. Free Frag, you're from Sweden, so you have 4 weeks. That's not too bad. I mean, in Canada, we have like no guaranteed time off. So I have 4 weeks, but I had to work for 20 years to... And even then, my current job, they wanted to only give me 3 weeks to start, and I had to negotiate up for the 4th week. So that's, yeah, it's rough, but it's just how it is. So, anyway, and work, blah. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at what I've got here. Oh, I'll probably have to add it to OBS here as a source. Sorry, cat hair or something on my face. Okay. I think I see it. Whatever. Cats. Let's get this running. And then I will add this as a source here. Because I have not had that up before. What are we gonna... Well, might as well call it Hackmud Auto, because that's what I've called my app. And it is going to be Hackmud Auto, I think. Okay. And I want Hackmud Auto... Where is it? That's not quite right, is it? That's not quite right. First of all, I want it to be down here. And I want Hackmud Auto to actually be the executable. Interesting. No, that seems to still just be a smaller version of my development environment. That's weird. I don't know what this thing is called. This is why I probably should have tested this before getting all excited about showing off my thing if I can't get it to show up in OBS properly. You know what I can do? If this doesn't work, hold on. Let me try one more thing. Just bear with me here for a minute. Yeah, like what's up? devenv.exe. You got lots of time? Alright. Well, that's good. Alright, let's try one more thing here. I want, like, what would this be called if it's not, window capture? Hackmud auto. Maybe I should try running it, like, running it from the executable instead of, in debug mode here. So, give me a second, let's try running the raw binary here. Let's see if I get any better luck with that. Okay, well, OBS doesn't want to show it, so I think what I'm going to have to do is just share the whole monitor. So, unfortunately, while we're looking at this, it's not going to look as pretty. Hey, Demo, what's up? How's it going? Alright, I'm fighting with OBS, and that's not really the fun part of streaming. So, let's switch to desktop view. Okay, that's a bit better. Well, everything's all kind of overlapped, but at least now you can see it. So this is what I've got so far. So what it is not much. I've got a box here. I did find the hackmud font, though, online. So at least it kind of matches. I try to use kind of some of the same colors anyway. And I've got a little command box here, and that's pretty much it. I don't think this does anything, and this doesn't do anything. Exit works, though. So I've got some basic commands set up in here. So what it can do, I might as well just show. Let's minimize the code for a second here. So let's see, if we look at, if we do user to show the current hackmud user, it goes in here, it tells us current user Xylox. I have in the code here, where did I store it? I think I stored it in, I thought I stored it in Auto Engine. Oh no, it's in my settings. So in my settings I have, so I have my tier 1 scraper. I have kind of optional the crack format for how I call my unicrack script the first time through and subsequent times. So this would be for the first time I call it against an NPC location, and then in the cases where it times out because you know, it got really time-consuming lock stack or something like that, then it can run a subsequent command that will use that continuation token. So this is just kind of an some insurance against getting stuck in some kind of infinite continuation loop. And then these are my two bot users I have right now. They're both tier 1. This is all just still for tier 1, just because the way that I scrape tier 2 locations is slightly different. This is it should cycle between these two. So where I'm at right now, I'm on my primary user, Xylox. So because Xylox though is not in my settings for the automated users, if I do start, start should run the automation process, and the first thing it's going to do is switch to the first user to be automated. So this way it's not going through and trying to do automation on my bank user and things like that. Though, you know, I could, but I don't want to. So if we start this, there's a tiny bit of a delay that gives me an opportunity to stop it if I change my mind. And we're just going to watch it kind of switch here. Let's looks like it got stuck on something, which is okay. So I think what happened is it actually got stuck on the last thing that I touched right before we got here. And that was getting the user info. So this is kind of the pain about not being able to see it while I'm trying to debug, because I'm going to have to do a little bit of debugging. I was hoping I'd be able to show off more right off the bat. So we were looking for where was it? Get user info. That's, I think, where we were calling. So in here, if we look, we had, oh, though I guess I'm sharing my whole monitor right now, though, so we will actually be able to see this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this. I'm going to quit just to make sure everything gets closed up. And then we're going to find out what went wrong here when it tried to get, so sys specs worked, but something went wrong with reading the response. I have a feeling it's my regex. This is the last thing I changed before I started the stream, so we're just gonna yeah, that should be the first line that matches this, which should be an alphanumeric character as the first letter, because I want to grab the username line, the username line, and not like the little ASCII picture of the spider or turtle or whatever. This user doesn't have any upgrades because it's just a farming bot, so that's why it doesn't have a picture there. Which is actually why I switched to using a regex, because I was using a fixed index before, but that doesn't work if the index is shifting based off of whether or not there's a picture there. So we're just going to debug this real quick. This is all asynchronous, so like I can do things in here while this is running. Like that was one of the big changes I wanted to do, was make it go from a static single thread just function that just runs through to something that I can like interrupt and interact with. So if something goes wrong, I can say, hey, stop right there, let me go fix it in the client, and then I can restart. Anyway, so let's start again here and see what happened. Okay, so it's always on top, unfortunately, so it is in the way there a little bit. I should probably... Okay. What happened here? So response lines should be... So this should be the first one that starts with a letter. And just nothing happened. I stepped and it just went away into La La Land. That's kind of weird. So I have a feeling like regex match. So So we're gonna do is match, and we're gonna just test this because this is the whatever. It's the first line that I'm getting here, and it's what I want to see. So what's the problem? Oh, this is supposed to be a bool. Bool B. Okay. And we'll stop here and we'll see what that is, because I have a feeling it's just my regex. This should be pretty easy to fix if that's the case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over a little bit. So I have it set. I have it set as always on top as a workaround, because the messaging, like the Win32 messaging library, is funny, and some key presses don't get interpreted by the destination window the same way. And unfortunately, one of those key presses is the escape key, which I need to clear the command line in the hackmud client occasionally, especially with doing the user commands, because when you type user just by itself, it shows you some feedback and then it pre-populates user again on the next command line, but I may not want to run the user command based off the feedback, so I have to hit escape. But you have to switch focus to hackmud to send escape to it. You can't send it while it's in the background, unlike a lot of the other key presses. So as a result, there was like, I had to make sure that the automation program was always on top, so that what I'm really doing is I'm focusing on the hackmud client and then back on the automation client in rapid succession, and I do that constantly while I'm looking for the flush file to get the timestamp updated to show that my command ran. So it was causing flickering without having it as always on top, but now the downside is that while it's running, it's always on top of my Visual Studio instance, which is not great, but so that's why I moved it. Okay. So what is B? B is false, so that would be Y. So how do I make this not do that? False. Maybe I should just do A to Z, and there. Okay, so that's what we'll do. I don't know why the alpha thing wasn't working, but it doesn't really matter because that's the same thing. And we're not dealing with character limits and stuff because this is all C#, so. All right. So, this should now actually do something. So let's get this up like this, and we can see what it does. It was pretty damn fast when I had it working, like pretty damn fast. But it is tier 1 stuff, so. Okay, so it picks a random tier 1 corp name at random. It scrapes some locations. I get 8 even though I can only use 4 at a time because, you know, in case one of them goes missing while I'm working, I want to be able to just like grab another one out of memory instead of having to run the scraping script again just to save a little bit of time. Done. That's fast. That was 4 tier 1 cracks. I don't know how much time that was, but it was pretty fast. And then it calls my auto call script there to destroy all of them. Nice. Yeah, it is pretty nice. I was actually surprised with how fast it was. So then it switched users. Instead of waiting, so I picked this up from Smork. So Smork, instead of waiting 30 seconds for the hardline to refresh, you might as well switch to another user and use their hardlines. By the time you switch back, the hardline cooldown will be off. So that's why I wanted to at least have 2 bot users to bounce between. That's really fast. That is really fast. So the auto call script, so you can see there it actually left something behind. A char count v1 of rarity 2, which I probably don't need, but, and then it's going to switch back to my first bot user and it's going to repeat the process. And it will do this until I exhaust all the hard lines for both, and then that's actually the part that I haven't handled yet, is how to wait for hardlines to refresh, because I think the way that it's written right now is it'll just rapidly cycle between the users, and I want it to not do that, just to be a little easier on the game client. So we'll let this run. We'll let this run on the next user here, and then we'll stop it. That's a pretty big lock stack as well, so I'm going to stop this. Okay. So, and that's the nice thing too about making this all asynchronous is now I'm using cancellation tokens and stuff, and stuff. That's a technical term. So this is all using cancellation tokens so that when I start the thread here, I just let it run, and then you can enter in other commands. Though right now, really the only command that you can enter that makes any sense is stop while it's running. And then I have like all the colors and everything. Yeah, so it's a lot better. It feels a lot better to use. It feels a lot faster. It feels like something I could actually just set off to the side and just let it run. But there are some what I call tier 1 isms in it, that I don't think I could just throw tier 2 right at it. First of all, the output from my tier 1 scrape and my tier 2 scrape is not quite the same, and that's something that I think I want to work on. So I spent some time making my tier 1 scraping script. I think I used did I use Flux UI in here? I don't think I did. I think I used Flux UI on my tier 2 scrape. Right. So my tier 2 scrape uses the Flux UI to make the output look a little nicer. So we'll look at that just so that we're all on the same page. So I'll pick this one here and do tier 2. All of my scripts are now on my library user as well, which helps facilitate this, because I can just spin up a new user, get the 1 million GC I need from my bank user to init them to tier 1, and then I can immediately add them to my automation list, and that's it. Don't have to do anything else because all the other scripts are all on my library user, which I'm assuming is probably pretty standard practice once people get these things up and running, but it's nice to have it myself as well. So if we look at tier 2 scrape, did I add usage? I did not really add a usage here. So yeah, I think that's corruption. Or either I have a bug or it's shifting. It shouldn't be shifting at 22 minutes. I guess it could be. Okay, so it appears as though I have a bug in my tier 2 scrape, and I'm not sure when that would have been introduced. I did do some... you know what? Let's just... oh, right. I have to get... what is it? PNPM dev? There we go. So let's just make sure I'm working with the latest version of my script first. I'm not on my bot user. I'm on my bot user right now. I want to be on my library user. That shouldn't matter as far as the script actually working, though. Let's try this again. Okay. So it has some kind of a bug in it somewhere. I tried to do some efficiencies. One thing I learned about JavaScript, and this is kind of maybe everyone already knows this, but I didn't because I'm new. I was doing a lot of for each. Like I was doing a lot of like array.forEach. Apparently this is actually significantly less performative than just a regular for loop. So one of the things I did is I went through and I converted all of my for eaches into for let ofs on all of my arrays, just to increase performance. I didn't do any testing on actual runtime or anything like that, but that did seem to be the consensus that I saw online when I was looking up something else. So it could be that I've done something like that. If a.script. Oh, hey Jorstar. How's it going? Welcome in. Fairly usual stuff. Okay. Yeah, so like these things is just I know that in C#, which is my language I'm most comfortable in, that doing like link things, like doing .for eaches on enumerables, is also less performative. But in C#, I'm not super worried about performance anyway, because the language itself doesn't run that fast compared to JavaScript anyway. So, all right. So I need to find out why this isn't working now. So I can probably tell you what it is, and that is this. There is no function C in here. Did I have a function C and I deleted it? I backed up my tier 2 scrape. Here, I think. Did I put it here? I think I put it here. Source? No. Okay. Maybe I didn't back it up, and that was probably stupid of me. But oh, hey Raven. How's it going? Welcome in. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so I don't what did C do here? I think what this is supposed to be is just a.t.call. I think I might have just copied that from something else. So let's see if that fixes it. Not exactly. Didn't. Now I don't know what it's doing at all. Is this supposed to be like this? That's why. Okay, again, not quite. Okay, you know what? This is just unnecessary. I don't need to be doing that. That's something I added in. So let's go. There we go. Okay. So that's what my tier 2 scrape output looks like right now. Actually, now that we're not doing any of the automation debugging, I can probably. So I'm gonna quit this for now, and we can go back to the other. There we go. Side by side view. Okay. So yeah. So this is what my tier 2 scrape looks like, and my tier 1 scrape does not look like that. I think it's just wayland.public, right? Yeah. So my tier 1 scrape had some, because I was already using it for my out of process automation, it already had some considerations made for making it easy to read, just from the, like a screen parsing, just from parsing the flushing. So by default, it doesn't pretty. However, I did anticipate that, like in my tier 2, I think I have script false. So in my tier 2 script, I think I can do, if I do script true, I think it will, yeah, well, it was supposed to. Oh, that's interesting. That's a QR code problem. There we go. So the idea is that it would behave, the tier 2 scraping would behave in a similar fashion if I call it from my script with this parameter, so that, because it doesn't need, you know, this is for humans. It doesn't need to be like that for running from my automation. My cracking script, though, does still dump out a lot of data. I don't know if I left any of it up here. I don't think I did. I think we, oh yeah, I did a little bit. So so you can see kind of the way it's broken down, but ultimately I don't care about this, especially since it's the same cracking script I'm going to use for either tier 1 or tier 2. So Oh, and I had system slots full. Show up here as well. I should probably go check, actually, my bot users to see what kind of upgrades we have going on. Oh, Flux! Hey, Flux, how's it going? Welcome in. I suppose that you are the same Flux whose UI I am using, and it's a very nice UI. Yeah, I don't know why my autocull didn't work. Maybe I interrupted my automation before we got there, so I'm just going to do utils, and I'm going to do autocull. Oh yeah, I got to do confirm true. Okay. So that is possibly something that I have to account for. I have to account for in my out-of-process automation, is that I may run into, especially on the tier 1 users, I may run into the limit of upgrades before I run out of locations to crack on the hardline. So I might have to do something to detect that. I do have in my automation, I gotta make sure there. In my automation, I am counting how many, where do I do this counting? I am counting how many upgrades I get here. Indeed you are, Flux, and you are glad that I like it. Well, I do like it. It looks really nice. I really, yeah, I really like that. It's very simple to use, and it makes it look nice. I've always been kind of not super great at at making things look pretty. So yeah, I appreciate that there's like a public library there that just like handles all that stuff for me. So it's pretty cool. I want to definitely implement it in some other things that I'm doing as well. So I suppose I've got two. So both my tier 1 and tier 2 scraping scripts need some work to make them more compatible with automation. And then the automation itself needs some additional work as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the tier 1 scraping script looks good, and by looks good I mean when I run it from outside of a script, presents something nice. So right now it does, so it takes a public script. It has a usage. Oh yeah, that's another thing I added to my tier 1. Was actually, let's go. Hold on. Let's go to my other bot and make sure that their upgrades are all good. Oh right, they have the 1 char count. Sys.manage. I don't have any macros on this other user, so I don't remember what the command is. It's sys. Upgrades maybe. I0 full true. There we go. So this is 650 characters, so not really useful to me. It's not really a surprisingly high number of characters or anything, so I think I'm just going to call it. If I could type, geez. I0 confirm true. Okay, goodbye. Go back to my library user, and let's look at the different output that we have from my tier 1 scrape. So if I call it without any parameters, it gives me my usage. It's plain and simple, but it gets to the point. So, I mean, I think what I want to do is add another parameter to this that makes it return the results in a pretty way by default, and then in the current way that it does now if you pass script true to it. So we're going to have script false. And then we're going to go to the tier 2 scrape, and we are going to get the flux UI lib here. And we're going to copy the layout. There's some of the layout stuff that I wanted to apply to my cracking script, but the output of my cracking script is significantly more complicated with all of the nested like locks and the time and stuff. So I haven't figured out. I haven't gotten that comfortable with Flux UI yet, and I haven't really figured out in my mind what I want it to actually look like. So there's going to be a little bit of work to do on that part. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to put it into the tier 1 script. So what we're going to do is the same thing, basically the same thing that we were doing here, and that is if script, if a.script, then we're just going to return the locations that we have. Otherwise, we're going to make it a little prettier. So, what do I want this to be? I want the layout header, and this will return layout. So I want the layout header to be the name of the public corp that we're scraping. I want the children to be this render list, and that's going to be I don't think it needs a header, because what does it look like, Flux, if I don't have a header or a subheader? If I don't have either of those, is that doable? Let's see. Let's see what this looks like. So up T1 scrape. Actually, before we do that, I should make sure that I put this into my usage. We're going to do comma n script colon v and then bool. Flux, I can also check context calling script. If I'm calling it from the console, it'll be null. But if you call it with a script, it'll be a script name. Yeah, that's true. I suppose I don't have to have it as a parameter, right? So I mean, I like the idea. I suppose I could. So what do I want here? I want to be able to test the output both ways manually, but then there is no point of it coming through with the UI prettification if I'm calling it from a script. So maybe this can be like maybe I can have it as if a.script or context dot calling script. If I'm calling it from the console, so I guess just like not equal to null, then I could return just the lines. So what you do is if context calling script equals null, then you return the user-friendly output. So I want the opposite of that logic, because I want to be, if I want to see what it's spitting out to scripts, I want to be able to actually override that behavior and say, which is why I'm kind of reversing the condition here that you're using. So I can say script is true, and then it'll dump out, even though I'm calling it from the CLI, it'll dump out the script output so that I can test it for debugging or whatever. So I think I'll have it like that. Yeah. So I'm just going to add this to my usage. I don't know why I like writing help docs so much, especially especially when it's just for me. But this could help if I take a hiatus or something from the game, right? And I come back and be like, how do I don't remember how to use any of my tools. So, so script, and then I'll say if true, if true, or if calling context, or if called, or if, how do I word this? If called from a script returns non-prettified output. Yeah, that's probably all right. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks okay, except my alignment's off on my, you know what? Fix it. I have to have standards. Okay. You know what I could do is I could prettify the usage. No, don't do that. I just gotta stick. I just stick with one thing. A little scatterbrain today. Okay. So that is that, I think, for the tier 1 scraping. Oh no, I have to test what it looks like with without the script true. So I should have one of the scrapes here. So this should prettify it. It did not. Did I have I must have my logic set incorrectly somewhere here. So if script or calling script is not equal to null. I was asking about the UI lib earlier. You only did the design. Demo knows how the util works. So demo is in here too, I think, right? I thought I saw demo. Yeah, demo's in here. You still here, demo? I'm not sure if this is not showing up because I don't have a header. So I'm just gonna put like an empty string here and see if that works. No, I think this is a logic problem. If a.script, so if args, if the script args, that's what I called it, right? Is true, which it is not, because I'm not passing it at all. Actually, I have some, hold on, I saw some unused variables. I'm just gonna clean these up real quick. I don't think it matters too much, but okay. So what's going wrong with my logic here? Oh, I have something else going on here. If I am not supporting, if I'm not doing picking logic, so what I need to do here is, if I'm not doing picking logic, I'm going to do RRSS equals locks. I'm going to have an else, and I'm going to do, whoops, I'm going to do all this, whoa, frig. All of this in the else. I think that's what I want. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, yes, but it is very large. I learned that the hackmud lib has a columnize on it. I wonder if that would work in here. Probably not, because columnize is a string, right? If I did lib.columnize, let's see if this totally blows up the Flux UI. Yeah, it does. What if I do it as an array? Hey, almost. So columnize seems to have fucked up with the layout a little bit, but that's pretty close. Flux, do you or Demo Box, if you're there, do either of you know how to do this the way that I'm trying to do this? I want to have like I essentially want to be able to columnize, but inside the layout. It's weird because the first line worked. It must be using word wrap for the others. I suppose I could do... What could I do here? I could really screw this up. So if I columnize it, I think that just gives me one big string, and it uses word wrapping to get it to look pretty. So if I split this by something, if I could split it into, if I could do pick 2 out of it, so if I do dot split by spaces, that should give me how many of them I have. I is less than the total number of them that I have. I plus equals 2, and go by pairs. So if I go by pairs, and then I can do lock. Let's do let lock calls. I can do lock calls dot push, and then hold on, this has got to be a var2. Let call string equal this. Call strings, I guess. No, I don't think this is the right way to go about this. What other, are the help files all written on this now? Let me go look at this. Do we have help file stuff on this? Try something real quick for me. Do let x equals lib columnize and then return x? Sure. Where was I doing that? Here, I guess we'll just do it here. So let x equal lib columnize and then return x. You want to return x like this specifically as an object, or do you want me to string? Do you want me to JSON stringify it? Yeah. Okay. UEV is not a function. I don't know what the fuck that is. What happened here? Let me just comment that out. Did that do something funny? And if I just return RRSS here, okay, and if I do let x equals this and just return x, does that work? No. Am I crazy, or was that not actually what I was just doing previously? Lib dot column. Oh, I missed the n. Typoed. I should have a typo counter on the stream of how many times I fuck myself with a typo, and then I spend like minutes or hours wasting time. So that's what it looks like. So it is. Oh, so I could split it by new line. There are new lines embedded. It's not using word wrap. So I could do. So that's great, because what I can do is I can do lib colonize dot split slash n. That should probably work, right? That's what you wanted to check? Yeah. Okay. So let's try it. Let's see what that looks like now. Beauty. Okay. That's good. So it does work. Oh, that's great. I just have to know how to use lib columnize properly. Cool. So that actually looks pretty good. So I think what I need to do now is just make these ones wider. So I'm gonna just let it be calls. I'm gonna let it be calls for both probably. Maybe calls minus 10. No, I want calls for the outer one, and I want maybe calls minus 10 for the inner one. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe calls minus like 3. I like it. That looks really good. It does. I guess it doesn't really need a. It doesn't really need a header, and it doesn't seem to care. Actually, I didn't know if the header is required at all. Let's just check that. It's not. Okay. So that's pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. What happens if I do full true in here? There is one. Oh no, there's two. And then what happens if I do pick here? If I do pick 10. Pick 10 looks good. Pick 8. And then if I just do pick 1. Yeah, I like it. That looks good. That looks really good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so now I want to apply that kind of same logic to my tier 2 scrape, which, oh man, see, I don't actually know if I need to do this to my tier 2 scrape, because the tier 2 scrape returns significantly less locations, at least the way that I have it coded now. So this kind of gets back to the automation a little bit, and I have to think about this because so right now what my automation does is it only works for tier 1. So just thinking about tier 1, but thinking ahead for how we use it for tier 2 as well. It just asks for, let's actually just pull it up here so we know what we're talking about. It has scrape tiered NPC locations. So what it does is it pulls, because the tier 1 corporation names are all known. I guess the tier 2 ones are all known too, but not to me. The tier 1s are all known, so I have them in an array. And what my automation does is it picks one of them at random. So I could go from top to bottom, or I could start in the middle and go back and forth as I cycle out, but given how many locations there are in the tier 1 corporations, I don't think I have to be that ruthless with farming, especially since tier 1 is not... The only reason I think I would automate tier 1 at this point, like actually let this just go wild, is to farm tier 1 keys, because there are a few that I need for lockboxes. I keep getting hung up on them in tier 2. So anyway, so what I currently do is for each user that I'm automating, I will use my tier 1 scraper. I will pick 8 locations at random. So it essentially does this one, right? So pick 8, what that does is it gets this whole list and it picks 8 of them at random, and then just fills them in. So it'll do that per user, and then it'll open up a hard line, crack the first 4. If any of them are already breached, or if any of them don't exist anymore, it'll keep going through the list until it exhausts all 8, and then it ends, and it goes to the next user and scrapes again. So it already runs pretty fast, so I don't know if I really need to speed it up that much, but it does run the scraping script for every user's hardline. Each time it goes to do a hardline, it scrapes over and over again. My tier 2 script, my tier 1 scraping script is fast enough that it can get this many locations out of a single tier 1 corporation, and I'm not doing the big list. So if I added big list to this, I would have so many locations in tier 1 I wouldn't even know what to do with them all. So right now there's not really a point. My tier 2 scraping script though, however, let's see if I got it back here in my history somewhere. Don't make me type it again because I'm so lazy. Okay. So first thing you'll notice, it's a lot slower. And that's because of all the QR decoding that also needs to happen. I don't know if my QR decoder might gain some efficiency by doing the for each, un-for eaching it the way that I did. Maybe I should take a look at that real quick. I think I already did this. Yeah, so there's no for eaches in my QR solver, so I already did that. Does my utils have a for each? No, whoops. It does, and I screwed that up from another typo. Increase my counter. Okay, so maybe I can try... What is this in? This is in my auto call. This is in my auto call. That's in my key management. So actually none of these things have to do with the QR code. The only thing the QR code's using right now is my decorruption utility, and there is just one for loop. There's a few things that slow down my tier 2 scrape. And the first one there is that it's got to call my utilities to do decorruption, because my QR decoder does not, it needs a decorrupted QR code or it flips out because I don't do the error correction. So I have to, in order to get a decorrupted QR code, I have to call the endpoint 4 times. So that also slows me down. I have to call the order IDs endpoint on the tier 2 corporation 4 times for a single user. So there's a lot of script calls going on there. Thankfully, my QR decoder takes an array of QR codes, so that is a help on performance. Maybe what I should do here, so that I know what I'm dealing with, I should add a timer. My scraping scripts don't have any logging like my cracking script does, because there's not really that much going on in them. They're either going to it's either going to return results or it's not. There's not really much else going on there. So I think I'm going to add the amount of time it took to the output. So we are going to, I think it's as simple as, I think I'll maybe add it to the subheader here. That's actually a pretty simple place for it to be placed. So we are going to do, what was the color code for white? 1? Did I use 1 or A or 0? I'll just use A. Doesn't matter. So A. And then in here, we're going to put date.now minus st, I think, which is the start time for the script, if I'm remembering that correctly. So that should tell me how long it took to scrape the one user. Yeah, I think that works. $419 milliseconds. That was way longer than 419 milliseconds. Did that not seem longer than 419 milliseconds? That's half a second. That was only 220. So maybe this is going a lot faster than I thought, and I could do a few users in here at once. Well, would it be at once? So there's a couple ways I could do this. Do I roll this out the same way I did tier 1, even though really I can only do 4 at a time, right? In a hardline. I don't think I really care too much about an extra 2 seconds per user hardline in my tier 2 automation out of process. So I guess the issue is, and this has happened sometimes, that the first time I call this for a user, it could only give me like 1, because there's only 1 QR code left to be solved for a particular user, and I want at least 4 if I'm using my out of process automation, and I don't have any like minimum threshold in my tier 2 scraping script. So I think I need to add that in here somewhere. The only problem is I have to brute force the usernames to see if they work, and that is time consuming. So I could say brute force until I have at least 3 successful usernames. That would probably give me enough QR codes, but it might not even give me enough QR codes on a might not give me enough QR codes even on like an older tier 2 corporation if people have been picking away at them, or if I get automating, right? I could be cannibalizing my other users' tier 2 locations if I go too heavy. So I already know how many QR codes I get from the decorruption call. I could do this. Gotta think about this for a sec. What do I do here? So I suppose what I could do, instead of breaking here, I could do this. So if I find a username and so I call it with the username. If I get more than 3 lines in the response, that means that I've got the menu with the order QRs. I save that user as the one that I found in this loop. I parse the command word out of it as well. I need another function here, actually. I think I had an IC function at some point somewhere. There it is. Oh, is it my tier 1 scraping script? I didn't even realize that. Okay. So this will tell me if a string is corrupt or not, because I do have a little bit of a problem here. Like the command could be, the command word could be corrupted. So if I'm going to start looping through this, it gives me at least an opportunity to decorrupt that. So if CMD is empty, or it's corrupt, then this. Otherwise, it's self. So potentially gives it several attempts, as it's going to be looping through here anyway. DQRs is going to have to be, what does decorrupt do again? I think decorrupt returns, decorrupt goes and actually calls my utility script to decorrupt the response text. Why is it doing that? Hold on one sec. Shoot, where'd that thing go? Sorry, I have a technical difficulty day today. Okay, you're gonna be good now? Okay, it's behaving. Sorry, like macro key thing malfunction. Okay, so this returns the decorrupted results, which is an array of 1 or more decorrupted text depending on what I pass to it. So DQRs is an array, presumably. It is not an array. should be an array, and this should be dqrs dot concat. Combines two or more arrays. Yeah. So this should concatenate dqrs. And then instead of checking if the length is 0, I will do if the length is greater than 4, I will break instead. Actually, hold on. I still want this one. Actually, let's go back a bit further here. What was I doing? If the array has more than one item and the first item in the array is greater than 0, I don't know why. Why would that be the case? I'm gonna take that out. I'm probably gonna regret that, so let me comment it out instead. Okay, so instead of doing this, I'm going to do this down here as a safety check. Oh, I'm already doing it as a safety check, so I'm going to delete this. If the length is 0 or the first item's length is 0, I'm going to say, again, I'm going to comment that out. If the length of the array is 0, so I've cycled through a bunch. This is an endless loop. So I suppose I should also do... Oh, I already have a return here out of usernames. Instead, what I should do is I should break, because here I will return if I have found no QR codes across all users, which is probably hypothetically... I think that's hypothetically impossible, but you never know. So now when the QRs is greater than 4, I will just break. Nope. Nope, nope. Shit, this isn't gonna work. Because... I need to know the users and the QR codes that they're associated with, because I have to use the username when I go to get the order ID. When I submit the order ID. So... I have to have an array of arrays. I need a dictionary of username QR codes. So, okay. So, DQRs this is turning out to be a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I want to call my QR script once with all the QR codes, but if I'm going to be passing multiple codes for multiple users, I need to retain the association between user and QR code after I receive the decoded ID from my QR solver. So I can store them as an array. keep track of the lengths and slice them out of the response. Join them all together into QR codes, send them off to my decoder. Is there a size limit on how much data I can pass to a subscript? Because this could potentially be like 40 QR codes worth of characters that I pass in a giant array. I don't know if that's safe to do. I guess we'll find out. Learn something new that way. So, DQRs, Jorstar, there is a memory limit. Yeah, I'm not sure how much memory the QR codes take up. Well, we'll see. So, DQRs is going to be an object, not an array. DQRs, I am going to do, so DQRs, see, here's the thing too, is if I wait to decorrupt them, I could save myself some subscript calls as well. Oh, you know what? I'll save that one for later. To do more efficient decorruption of multi-user QRs. So DQRs, I should call them user DQRs. Is it going to be a dictionary? So user DQRs is going to equal user DQRs at user is going to equal that. That's what I'm going to do. Jorstar, seeing that people return a bunch of tier 2 users in a scrape, they seem to decode at least a whole corporation. Yeah, so maybe I'm okay. I'm just trying to do it all at once. I think depending on how they do it, if they're doing it all at once or if they're doing like in chunks, they're passing it off to subscripts in chunks maybe. But I think I'll figure that out pretty quickly, one way or the other. Okay, so I'm gonna have user DQRs. I'm going to add this array in here, and then if user DQRs I don't know how to do this in JavaScript. I need to do total number of I need the sum of lengths of user DQRs dot a user DQRs at a. So I need user DQRs at a dot length plus user DQRs at b dot length. User DQRs dot length gives me the number of properties. This is an object. Does dot length on an object give me the number of properties on the object? I guess I'll find that out too. Can't I add all NPCs to a single array? Yeah, so that's what I'm already doing, but I realized when I ship them all off to be decoded and they come back, I need to know which QR codes belong to which users, because you have to have the user name as part of the parameters when you pass the order ID in to get the refund locations. So I need to if I'm going to be adding multiple users into the QR codes, Like if I'm going to have multiple users' QR codes in the same array, I have to retain their username relationships. So that's why I was storing them in an object with the username as the property and the array of their QR codes as a property. So user 1 would have an array, user 2 would have an array, user 3 would have an array. Then I can take all the arrays and send them off to be decoded in a big chunk, and when they come back, I can just do top to bottom. I can just do like I can just slice them off, right? I'm just trying to think of computationally, like from a JavaScript algorithm point of view, how to figure out when I have got too many and I can stop, because I don't want to do I want to do? Maybe I want to do all of them. Maybe I don't need to check the length. Maybe I shouldn't check the length. Maybe I should see if I can actually do this. All of them. Just do all of them if I'm in here, right? See, Joystar, you're saying there are other people that return a whole bunch of them, so maybe I can do it. Let's try. See if I time out. Probably time out. Probably time out. Let's see, one user could take 0.5 seconds, so that only gives me 10 users, right? So I have more than 10 users, but a corporation maybe doesn't support 10 users. I don't know. Too many unanswered questions, so I think we'll just head down the experimentation. Alright, so I don't have a break condition. Oh yeah, my break condition is when I run out of all my usernames. Okay. So I've got my username and the QR code association here. Do a timeout check. Yeah, I think my tier 1 scrape has a timeout check as well. Actually, maybe it doesn't because it just finishes too quickly. But yeah, I can do a timeout check and I can just say, if I'm about to time out, just stop and return what I have. So yeah, I can do that if it comes down to it. Okay, so I guess I want user DQRs. So if I don't have any in there, clearly I didn't find any, that's okay. No QRs found. I don't need this part. I can just say no QRs found. Pass the QRs into my decoder. So this is where I have to add them all. So I think I have to do let all QRs I equals 0, I is less than user DQRs dot length I plus plus. I can do user DQRs at I. All QRs equal all QRs dot concat user DQRs at I. Then I can pass all QRs into my solver. Oh, hey, Smark. Bonus stream. Yes, bonus stream is right. Oh, okay. We've got an ad coming up. Bad timing, Smark. Sorry. So I'm going to go refresh my water, hit the bathroom. I'll be back in a few minutes here, okay? I'll be right back. Whoops. There we go. Getting used to these keys still. All right, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Okay, so man, one of the things I got to do is I bought a bunch of stickers. They're sitting right back here. I haven't put them on yet. I got to get these little key label stickers and put them on my macro keyboard so that I know what each key does. So it's just a regular keyboard right now. Smork, you're thinking about initting all your users. Even with your account NT failing half the time, you're getting way more GC out of it. Yeah, like going up to tier 2, you mean? I think it's a good idea, honestly. I was saying this earlier, I think the only reason I'm going to keep a couple tier 1 users for now is just to farm out the rest of the tier 1 keys. Like I may, at the end of all of it, keep one user in tier 1 specifically for finding tier 1 keys. If I think we were talking about this before, that we had our suspicions that being in tier 2 decreases your chance of getting a rare tier 1 lock because the key pool is larger. Not sure if that's the case. I haven't heard confirmation of that or anything, but honestly, I'm probably going to end up buying even more users at some point. I can see myself. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to Matrix level, like 200 users or 250 users or whatever, however many he's got, but I'll probably end up slowly expanding my users over time if I keep this up. So, yeah, oh yeah, that's the other thing. I've got account NT working. I've got it working. I haven't had it fail yet since I finished it. I think I have 100% solve rate on it. I think. It was rough. It was rough figuring it out. I can't remember what the last part of the puzzle was. What was the last part of the puzzle? Right, it was doing the slosh, handling the slosh on the index of the array instead of the date. And you were right, Smork. I think you were the one that was saying it's not related to the memo. It wasn't. It was related to the spend versus earn. I had a piece of code commented out here that multiplied, that made the number either negative or positive based on whether the terminology being used was earned or spent. And I had that commented out. And so whenever it was saying, I noticed whenever it was like, whenever the thing was spent without memos, it was failing, and that's why. So those two things are the last piece of that puzzle, and now my account NT appears to be extremely consistent. Extremely consistent. So that was a relief to have that, but it's so big now, the script. Anyway, let's finish up with this tier 2 stuff. So I'm going to get a bunch of solves back from the QR solver. I log something here, but I'm not returning the log, so it doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, I don't actually think I need to log anything at this point in time. What I do need to do now is I need to slice through the solves and reassociate them with their users. So here we're going to have user order IDs, which is going to be another object. And I'm going to have to do I'm going to loop through the users. So I'm going to do this. I'm doing this exact loop again. thought I had a thought for a second, but then I lost it. I don't think I need to store them in an object. I think I can handle them as I am looping through them. So I have the user DQR. So user DQRs at I shoot. How do I get the how do I loop through the keys? How do I loop through the keys in an array? In C# I would just do .keys. An array of objects, so it's an object, and each key is the username, and the value is the array of their QR codes. So you can do object.keys. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. So this would be object.keys.length, or would I do before timeout array.index of object, array.index of object, before ups. George Star, I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand. Oh, you had stuff in your chat. Literally object.key. Oh, okay. So it's like a static function. So object.key keys. So I would do object.keys of user DQRs. Is that what you're talking about? And that gives me the array of keys. So I could do .length here, and that would loop through. Or maybe it would be better to do let u of object.keys. That'd probably be better, right? Because then I could do this. And then if I do the same, so that gives me the user. So what I can do here is I can say g.username is you. You know what? Might as well just say user. I'm minifying. I don't care about these characters. So g.username equals user. G, and then I can take these right here, ish. So I can do G command is customer service. G order ID is. And this is where it gets tricky, because this is a single array. So what I could do is I could just have an for each user, so I'm gonna have a let si equals 0. So this is my solves index that I'm going to use to keep track of what index I am in this. So I crawl through this as I loop through the users. So for each user, the username and the command are going to be the same. Then I'm going to have a for let underscore. No, it can't use underscore. I'm already using that. Let x of user DQRs @user. So this will loop through the QR codes for this user. This is probably better off as a regular for loop. Let I equals 0. Let X of user DQRs. The order ID is going to be solves at SI++. Oh, I need that here because then I'm going to do this. Huge line. What am I doing here? Decorrupt the locations. Dot split, split, split. Dot filter. So after all of this, I should have all of the users' locations for all of their QR codes. I'm going to comment that. I probably should have done more commenting than deleting here. And then if it's being called from a script, oh, now I can steal the same thing I had here. Actually, I might steal this whole thing. Might steal the whole thing. I don't care about the usernames anymore. I do like having the subheader there though, the time in the subheader. So the header is the name, the subheader is going to be what color code was I using again? A, I think. And this is going to be date.now minus underscore start time. This should columnize the locations. If a.script is true, or if the calling script is not null, then return just the plain locations, otherwise make them a little pretty. Okay, let's see how badly I fucked this up. That was a lot of refactor without running, so up, sorry, I am on my lib user, I think, yeah, okay. Up, tier 2 scrape. I don't have the timeout protection in here, Jorstar, so I will have to do that. Probably, we'll see. It took so long, the corporation shifted. Okay, we'll take this one, so it's 11 minutes. Y is not defined, that's... Probably, honestly, I probably have to make a Y here. But I don't think that's going to solve my problem, though it might. No. So, IC. So it's in my IC method. Let. And let's just make these X's. I don't know why I made them Y's. Try X. Okay. CC is not defined. Lib dot corruption chars. Cannot read property includes of undefined. Jesus. Huh? Don't I love JavaScript? uh, like, it's literally the only includes in my whole fucking script, so is it S? Oh! It isn't. Nope. Nope. I do love JavaScript because it told me exactly what the fucking problem was. I'm the idiot. I'm setting this to is corrupted command, but so if it equals nothing, wait a minute. So it should equal nothing. If it equals null, maybe that's the problem. If not command, or so the first time we hit this, or we have hit it previously, but it's corrupted. Then the CC problems were also real, but that one I think is my bad because I just wrote that code. I can't read property 1 of null. Line 26. Can't read property 1. Can't read property 1. Users. Probably this. It's probably this one. So again, I think I need to do replace this loop with this one, and then this should be user. Where is property 1? A.I? I don't need that anymore. I'm actually not going to have that property anymore. And if this is my break condition, this should just be in here. Come on, man. Pull yourself together. Papa bless. There we go. Only 2,000 milliseconds. That's pretty good. There's some users in here. Someone has a username to create. That's funny. So probably what I don't know how this null snuck in there. How did a null sneak into my user locations? Yeah, it's still there. Missing. How did that get in there? Did that end up being a QR? Was that a QR code? How did that get in there? Okay, so I do a decorruption with the ID. You know what I do want to do now? I do want to log solves. Let's see what's actually coming back. And then I'm going to, I'm just going to, I don't know, I'm just going to return logs, I guess, right here, before we do anything else. None of these IDs seem to have null in it. These are all real IDs. So I think the issue is with the actual call. The actual call here to the locations. So I need to, I'm splitting the locations, I'm filtering where the length is greater than this. I think I have to add a condition to this, and why the first character is not equal to an angle bracket. Perfect, gone. All right, and then the other thing I want to do is, okay, so I want to implement a couple of the other parameters from tier 1, full and pick. So I want to do full and pick. I think for full I need the NPC prefixes, name prefixes, string. And that is again going in here. How did I do it? I just do NP. Oh, right, this is a regular expression. So I can do and either a.full or np test x. This is starting to get a little lengthy. So I'm going to do it like that. I suppose I don't need that curly brace. I need the ending of the concat. Okay, so I should be able to do this now, and it should not return player locations. That should be the default behavior. Yeah, well, that's clearly not working correctly. filter where the length is greater than 0, and its first character is not an angle brace, an angle bracket, and either a.full is true or mptest at y. Don't copy and paste. I do too much copying and pasting. I think I might start a counter for every time a typo makes me think that I'm going crazy, and it's really just my fault. Okay, so so the player names aren't there, and if I do full true, they should show back up. Yep, okay, so that behavior is working the same now as tier 1. The other thing tier 1 had was pick. So the picking logic, and that was this thing here, basically. So this is kind of paring my list down of locations. So I had I don't know why I used an intermediary variable there, because I can probably get the exact same behavior without that if I just reassign the locations array. I guess it's destructive though, but I don't really need it anymore past that point. Let's make sure that works with the tier 2 script, because this doesn't include this code anyway. So in which case this is going to be if a pick, then li, which is the limit, is a pick, r1 equals 0. These both need lets, I believe, which I can do like this. If the location's length is greater than li, r1 is going to equal math floor, so this is the random start position, locks. So if I just do reassign locations, is locations, that should do it. So the default behavior is going to be none. So the default behavior should be all of them. Not sure what happened there, but it screwed up my columnize because of it. That's interesting. Is that some kind of weird bug? Yeah, it was. That was weird. That was like a bug inside columnize, I think. Well, if I see it again, maybe I'll make a ticket. Okay. So bad corruption. It might have been, though I am decorrupting all of these. So it's like the color code didn't get reset either. So it's almost like the closing backtick got chomped off the string is almost what it looks like the backtick new line character got chomped. Maybe actually backtick new line character and then backtick and then the color code for gray. I don't know what happened, but it was temporary. It's not a glitch from my code because my code just did the exact same thing and didn't do it twice. So who knows? Who knows? So I should be able to do like pick 4 now. It does a hell of a lot of work just for 4, but they're 4 random ones. So what my automation, this kind of goes back to the automation now. So the question is, Flux, you're saying corruption eating color code backticks is a rough edge case you've not solved yet. I honestly, I think it's the first time I've personally ever seen that happen. So And it was weird that it only really happened the one time. Now, I know that by making 4 repeat calls, you are only really like 99% decorrupting it. Like there is still a very, very small chance that you'll get corruption in the same spot for all of them. So let's run it twice. Let's run it twice if it comes down to it. Oh, I want to test script true here as well to make sure that this gets just dumped out in one big list for easy parsing. Yes, it does. So I think it's basically tier 2 scrape is now behaving exactly the same as tier 1 scrape, which means it's going to be fully compatible with my out process automation. Also, it's returning far more locations than it was previously. Previously, it was just doing one user, and I was responsible for manually rolling through my users array, and it's because I was worried about runtime. But it seems like that's not something that I need to worry about, because you know these are typically running in about like 2 seconds. All right. So that's not bad for one. That's one tier 2. So that should be, I mean, I know that's not all of the locations because I don't have a complete usernames list. I have a sufficient usernames list up here. It's not bad though. It's pretty long. But I know it's not all of them because I gave up while I was manually filling them out. I could farm them, but I don't think I need to. Okay, so so that's pretty good. So I can delete this. I can delete this. I don't really think I need a more efficient decorruption of the QRs because that's really fast. As it is, it's really fast. This safety check was not working. Do I have the same safety check in? I do. What's C doing that I wasn't doing in my script? A.T.call. A.T.call. Let me try putting this back in here. If I do A.T.call, maybe I need to call it with empty parameters. And I want, if it's less than 3, to say target not high sec, because I'm not, I haven't touched, I think I touched a mid sec tier 2 NPC by mistake. I didn't notice anything different. Actually, I don't really know what the difference was. I just know that I didn't notice anything. I did it by mistake, I cracked them, I moved on, and then it was only afterwards that I realized that the corporation I had scraped was mid-sec, not high-sec. So, I don't know what I did there. Anyway, I'll have to do some exploring later. Flux, your decorruptor uses a while loop to test if there's any corruption left in the input. So it uses as many or as little as it needs, except for the aforementioned edge case. Emote, they perish. I've never seen that emote before. That's funny. You know, there is room for that efficiency as well. I always call 4 times. What I'm gonna do, Flux, I'm gonna put a note, a to-do here. Jorstar, you gave me that to-do tree, which I haven't really used it yet, but it is pretty cool, this to-do tree extension, so that I can see, like, if I'm looking for work, I can just come in here and be like, what's this? Oh yeah, I gotta do that still. What about this one? Yeah. So it gives me something to do when I'm searching for work. Anyway, so in my util script, I think I'm going to put a to-do for this. To-do. This is from Flux. Check. Oh, see, but it's not here. Where is it? See, the thing is though, see, this is interesting. I have the decorruption code in my utilities script. So I would have to make that method, I would have to put that method inside every single one of my scripts if I were going to do it that way. Because it would have to check. It would start with one call. Is there any corruption? Yes. Okay, make a second call. Is there any corruption? Yes. Okay, is there a third call? Is there any corruption? And right now that would result in 3 subscript calls to my utilities, so I'd have to do a fair amount of refactoring for that. It's not to say that it can't be done, and ultimately it would make it potentially more efficient for runtime. So yeah, so you know what, I'm going to put it here for now. You know, I'm just going to copy what you wrote here. That's a very good idea, Flux. That's a very good idea. I would have to do some not major, but some moderate refactoring with how I do my decorruption in order to facilitate that, but ultimately will save me some method calls, I think. Okay, so I have all of the params from tier 1 supported. I'm going to add my usage here as well. In here, where did this had it right at the beginning. So usage is the same thing, except this is going to be any tier 2 corp script. We'll include player locks. We'll return a random selection if true or called from a script. Return non-prettified output. And then if you don't supply any args, it should I should just be able to do T2 scrape, and it should give me usage. Perfect. Oh, I missed something. This is supposed to be tier 2 corp dot public. All right. It's on my list. It's on my plan list here to think about. Where is it? Plan. Oh, I've got some stuff here that I finished. So that's done. Oh, banking across multiple users is not done though. Bank across multiple users. That's not done. The bank is, but not a bank across users. I did that. I did that. I don't think I've really, I mean, I have had to think about it. So technically I did that. Should public be members in the tier 2 usage? Sorry, I don't think I understand what you're asking, FreeFrag. Should the usage be public? Is that what you're saying? Wayland.public. Wayland.members. I still don't know what you're asking, Free Frag. Did I put something somewhere funny? Like you're saying, did I? Should public when I run the command as empty? Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Public. It should be members. Yeah. It should be members or members only or whatever. Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I was having a reading comprehension problem. Yeah, you're right. It should be members. Members. Corp members script. Well, I guess that can stay the same. Up T2 scrape. And then if I do T2 scrape, T2 corp dot members. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so looking at our plan, it's you not using your words. No. Should public be members in the tier 2 usage? Absolutely. I think if you had added quotes around public and members, it would have helped me understanding you. But what you said makes perfect sense. It just took me a while to figure it out. Oh yeah, I think I added stats. So I was trying to, yeah, this isn't done. I was trying to think about how to figure out the rarity of keys. And I baked something into my autocall script to record the stats of how frequently I encounter a key whilst calling. Murloc! Murloc King is here, everybody. The king of the Murlocs. Welcome in. Welcome in, friend. How are you doing? I haven't looked at these stats. Where did I put them? I put them in my database on my library user, I guess, called key stats. So I should probably I should probably have a stats thing here. Man, my utility script takes so many parameters. Stats false. Good, thank you. Bit exhausted by the heat, but doing great. Well, that's good. Yeah, the heat. Yeah, it's probably worse. It's probably worse out east, right? You're a little further east than I am, right? Today was surprisingly mild, but I think it's supposed to be hitting us like tomorrow and Wednesday, and it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be real hot. It's supposed to be 45 here, either tomorrow. In Windsor, it's supposed to be 47. 47 degrees. My God. Oh my God. I can't imagine what the Detroit River must smell like in 47 degrees heat. Oh, it's gotta be disgusting. It's gotta be disgusting. Yeah, oh man, it's gonna be so hot. It sucks, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't suck, because I'm working this week. I think, Free Frag, you're on vacation, right now. I've got my vacation coming in a couple weeks, so hopefully it's not, like, so hot that I can't do anything. That would really suck. Okay, so I want to check these stats, so I'm gonna have, keys. If a.list, it's gonna return that. If a dot, what did I just call this stupid thing? Stats. Then I want to return dbf this dot first dot v. I have no idea what that's going to look like. I might want to stringify that. Up utils. Utils. I want tool key. I want stats true. Hey! That's pretty cool, huh? So I've got a running count, the distribution of keys that I have encountered when using my auto call. So after I breach, I typically run auto call manually. My out of process automation does the auto call as one of its steps afterwards. And auto call, every key that it encounters, it records it. It increments the counter. So after I've been farming for a while, I should be able to calculate my own statistical distribution of keys. I just don't know what tiers they are. Shit, I don't know what tiers they are. I should have stored these as V1, V2s. Fuck. Well, I mean, I'm not that far into it. Maybe I should do that now. Okay, hold on. Let's make sure we're done with what we were working on before. Tier 2 scrape and Tier 1 scrape now behave identically. They both look pretty thanks to Flux and Demobox's UIs. Tier 2 scrape actually gives me way more locations now, so it's way more efficient. Do I have a to-do? Let me check that I have a to-do at least in my automation to be more efficient with my scraping. To do, I mean, I am doing this, so thank you very much, Smork, because that's exactly what I'm doing now. I am shifting between users. I mean, I should leave credit in here. Instead of waiting for next hardlines, switch users. Thanks, Smork. There's some self-breach detection, which I don't really know if that's something I have to worry about, especially at Tier 1. The scraping. So I think that's not true anymore. To do, more efficient scraping, saving locks in memory, I think. Maybe, because they can also expire though more frequently. So that's, I'm gonna put a question mark there. Okay. So I'm gonna close these because these scrapes are pretty good. I now have I don't know, about 5 minutes left. I want my key stats to sort by the tier. So I'll also then have a good idea of which keys are which tier. How do I do this? Key stats is just an object right now. It should be an object of objects. An object of objects. I think I might have to, I think I might just have to leave this for next time. So to do is going to be separate stats, separate key stats by tier. In other words, like V1, V2, etc. Okay. So they were pretty good. So let's show off the automation again. For those of you who joined late and didn't get to see what I had in progress. So we're gonna switch to full monitor view here. How come I don't show up here? Boop, there we go. Okay, so let's see what the automation looks like. I should just be able to run it as is because it'll switch to the appropriate user. So let's start. Start. Did it start? I think it started. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Run. There it is. So it uses the hackmud font, which I found online and downloaded. And then, yeah, so I can do like user here, and it'll go and find the current user. I can switch my user. Smork, you'll notice I'm doing the flush spam that you mentioned, which you're right is way faster than what I was doing with hard weights. There's still a couple places in my automation where I'm doing a hard weight, but it's only like 2 or 3 spots now. And then I have a list of users to automate. I should probably call this automation users, and then we can rename that, and we'll just restart this to get rid of the purple line. Okay, so I am currently on a non-automation user. So when I start automation, it's going to, the first thing it's going to do is switch. So it's going to scrape. Oh, that's funny. I have to stop. I have to do this manually. Because I forgot to do the call from script. So it got all fucked up. Oh, what is it doing? When I stop my automation, it disconnects the hard line, so I just wasted a hard line. Forgot about that. I should probably change that so that when I stop it, I can interrupt it and save my hard line. Yeah. I mean, it's a tier 1 user, thankfully, so it's like whatever. And I'm almost done for the day too, so anyway, actually, you know what? Let's just fix the thing. I've only got a few minutes here, so let's just fix the scrape here. It's not raw true that I want, it's script true. And that should be enough to do it. So let's just do that so I can just show this off before I have to go. So I want to make sure that that's scraping. Good. 8 locations. That's the right number of locations. So the hard line is where I still have one of the hard weights, just because there's no way to know how laggy it's going to be getting to that IP address screen, so I don't really have much of a choice there, I don't think. Look at it friggin' go, man. Have you, like, that's fucking fast, man. So I just spam flush until the file updates. It's exactly what I do, yep. And then I just auto-called. Now it's gonna switch over, should switch over, yep, to my other user instead of waiting for the hard line. So this is where I put the to-do, where it could be a little bit more efficient with the scraping. It doesn't necessarily need to scrape with each user because it's going to waste some time. And like on tier 1, I'm not getting a whole lot of payout from this. This, again, I said this earlier, I think what I would do is just keep this for now so I can farm stats for V1 keys and farm the keys themselves. Because there are some rare ones I don't have. So fast. So fast. I'll let it auto call here, and then I'll stop it. Done. No, you're supposed to stop there. Okay, so there's something where I needed another cancellation token, I think. Anyway. That's something I can deal with later. I need to take into account the game flushes automatically every minute, so I need to read the last line and check if it's flush. I do filter out lines that have that start with bracket flush, and I make sure that I only read up until that point. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that's gonna be it for now. So thanks everybody for coming and checking me out today and hanging out and watching me swear and make bugs and making my own life more difficult for no reason. I appreciate it. We'll be in for my regular stream tomorrow night at 9 to somewhere between 9 and 9:30 p.m. Okay, have a great night, everyone. Hopefully we'll see you later. Take care.